crust shepherd's pie. This comes to us on page 67 of Sugar Butter Flour, the official Waitress pie book, under the section Savory Pies. For the past 3 weeks, I've been making pies as a tribute to Old Joe, in celebration of the birth of my nephew. But for the last pie of March, I actually want to pay tribute to someone very special in my life, my sister, whose son was the very reason I started this unit in the first place. Growing up, one of my sister's all-time favorite dishes was shepherd's pie. And so, to commemorate her journey of becoming a new parent, I'll be making one of her favorite comfort dishes. But first of all, I got a bag here of frozen peas and carrots, and we gotta thaw out 1 cup's worth of this stuff for later. We also need to bring 2 ounces of cream cheese to room temperature. Very generously salt a pot of water and bring it to a simmer over medium-high heat. Because we're making mashed potatoes. Peel and chop 2 russets. Fun fact, I'm actually one of those heathens that when I make mashed potatoes from scratch, I prefer to leave the skins on. Because the skin is where the flavor is. The Skin is Where the Flavor Is, by the way, is going to be the name of my first erotica novel. Chop the potatoes into 2-inch pieces. Place all of these potato pieces in the simmering water for 20 minutes. They should be tender without being waterlogged. Drain the potatoes into a colander and let this sit for 5 minutes until the potatoes start looking chalky. For the mashing of the potatoes, I'm going to be doing something new, where instead of mashing them with an actual hand masher, I'm going to be using this food mill. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. The secret to really good mashed potatoes is to never beat them, never process them, never blend them, because otherwise they'll become really gluey. Putting them through a food mill like this, or a potato ricer, or using a hand masher is really the best practice for making mashed potatoes from scratch. Now we have to add in everything else. Room temperature cream cheese, 2 tablespoons of room temperature butter, and the lightly beaten yolk of 1 eggy. Get it all mixed up together. Once everything is combined and melted, we're gonna put into this 3/4 of a cup of shredded cheddar cheese and 1/4 cup of warm whole milk. That's how you get mashed potatoes extra creamy. Now I could eat this whole thing right now, but I have to cover it up and set it aside while I work on the actual filling. Fire! Heat up a tablespoon of vegetable oil and plop in a pound of ground beef. Cook it for 5 minutes, breaking it up all the way. You can use ground lamb to make it a genuine shepherd's pie, or even use a meatloaf mix if you're going for a vegetarian option. Beef for the protein was what I grew up on eating shepherd's pie, so I'm using that. In our house, this dish was a step above a struggle meal. Our family was a product of the gutter. Once the beef is completely brown, we have to drain it and then set it aside. In the same skillet, melt a tablespoon of butter, place in there a cup of chopped onion with a big pinch of salt. I used pre-packaged sliced onion for this, because nobody is stopping you from taking shortcuts. We have to cook this for 5 minutes. And you know what, the hell with it. Let's do the same thing with this minced garlic. Put in here what would be the equivalent of 1 clove. Measure with your heart. Mix it up. Raise the heat to high. Very quickly put in an entire tablespoon of tomato paste and then stir it vigorously for 30 seconds. Reduce the heat and sprinkle onto this 2 tablespoons of flour. Cook this for 2 minutes, stirring constantly. Deglaze with 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce and 1/2 cup of dry red wine. I'm using a Cabernet Sauvignon myself, mainly because it was the only one I can afford. Again, struggle meal. Stir this in until we scrape up all of that fond that developed at the bottom of our skillet. Slowly add in 3/4 of a cup of beef stock. You have to add it in nice and steady. We want to be able to incorporate everything together. And we also want to get it nice and thick. This should take you about 3 minutes. Time to add the meat back in. Al jupe. Stir it up nice and good. Oh yeah, we made a nice gravy for this meat. Add in the thawed out peas and carrots. Stir it up. Let all of this simmer for 10 minutes so the flavors can get to know each other. Kill the heat and stir in a tablespoon of A1 steak sauce. Yeah, it's that important. And 2 teaspoons of thyme. And then season with salt and pepper to taste, which I just realized I forgot to do with the mashed potatoes. I want to serve this pie up in a cast iron skillet. Coat it in nonstick cooking spray. Pour the filling right in there. Spoon the mashed potatoes on top of the filling filling and spread it across the top with a fork. And make sure to give it that roughed up look. Now, I could make it look just like the picture and have it all piped in a pretty basket weave pattern, but I've run out of piping bags and I really do not have the time to make one. Bake this at 400 for 30 minutes and serve immediately. And there you have it. Lost shepherd's pie. Serve it up with a wooden spoon with a glass of that wine from earlier. Oh yeah, savory, peppery, warm, comfort. Pairs very well with this Cabernet Sauvignon. In the flavor text for this recipe in the book, Jenna says that she made this pie as a tribute to all of the new moms out there. And I think this is a very fitting tribute to the new mom in my life. Grab yourself a copy of Sugar Butter Flour, the official Waitress pie book, so that you too can make your own version of Lost Shepherd's Pie. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Waitress Wednesday, and I'll see you in the next one.